Hari Om. Speculation and astrology. A perfectly innocent question is thrown at me during a horoscope reading. Can I invest in shares or speculate, take risks? And my warning antenna goes up immediately. I generally relook at the chart backwards to understand where this question is coming from. Is it an innocent inquiry? Or is it someone prone to speculation with underlying danger surrounding it? Because around this question is one more peculiarity. 8 out of 10 times this question comes from the men and not the women. And if it is a couple sitting before me, the wife generally rolls her eyes discreetly, but not enough because she makes sure that I see it. Amusing as this sounds, it is true that men speculate much more than women do. More than double. And out of the men and women who speculate, this becomes a problem or an addiction 7 times more in men than in women. Recently, connecting with the history of the Mahabharata is what made me more inquisitive about this Yudhishthir-like syndrome affecting so many. Because as we know the story so well, a man as honorable and honest as Yudhishthir lost everything, including his wife's honor, to a game of dice, much to the horror of his brothers, who were unable to curb his adrenaline, loss after loss. So what is it in the horoscope that indicates this streak? Because like every other little trait, this huge one has to be clear too. Now the 5th house indicates this might, and the 2nd and the 12th houses, money matters, losses or gains, expenses, whatever. And the 9th house is bhagya or luck, as we call it. Needless to say, positivity in all these areas is needed to be a winner all the time. But obviously the combination of the planets is ever changing. That's why we understand that the only constant is change. With this change come our losses and our gains. The most calculating of the mind planets can result in sudden losses also and gains also. In fact, the stronger the planets connected with these 4 areas of the horoscope, the bigger are the gains and the losses too. Because when strong planets tend to clash with equally strong enemies, sometimes the losses are beyond repair. That's what gave the rough run to the likes of Harshad Mehta and his undignified end. There are 3 categories of speculators judged through the horoscope. The rarest are with the balanced planets in at least 3 out of the 4 houses mentioned above, and considerably reasonable planets in the 4th area too. Such people are cautious investors who study, take help and move forward egoless when investing. Their investments grow in an equally cautious pace with some encouraging spurts, but sometimes some drops too. The 2nd category are charts with malefic planets like Mars and Saturn, well placed in the mind areas and connected with mixed planets in the money areas. Now these are the risk takers. They become rash intermittently and they have a roller coaster of gains and losses, repentance and then repetition of the mistakes after a gap. Now the 3rd are the addicts with negative planets, especially in the 2nd and the 12th houses of money losses, who find it completely irresistible to take risks. Sometimes they have other connecting addictions too, which makes the situation unmanageable and the losses irreparable. It is necessary for those around them to recognize the problem and get out of denial and get help ASAP. Famous Hollywood personalities like Charlie Sheen and Ben Affleck are known more for what they finally lost than won, including their dignity in gambling and other addictions. And one lady who stands to be mentioned here is Pamela Anderson, who too lost $250,000, which is nearly 2 crore rupees, in one night in a game of poker. Amongst youngsters, it is also the desire to make quick money with minimal effort that makes them most vulnerable to this trait of speculation, showing signs of a bigger problem in the future. Now, here's a suggestion. Please listen to my talk again and assess impartially which category you belong to, because 3 out of these 4 categories mentioned above do spell danger. And the mind is one area whose reins can be checked, held back, and monitored if you do decide to swim against the wave of disturbing planets. Good luck and best wishes for rationale and moderation to one and all. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.